In Germany before the war, when they would load the Jews onto the trains and they would come close to the churches, it was reported in the churches that sometimes they would hear the screams of the Jewish people on the trains. And it was said, "What did you do?" And the people in the church said, "We would simply sing louder." We are not singing louder any longer. We hear the screams. We hear the screams of those being aborted. We cannot be silent.
Because the last time we were here, we worked to pass bills like parental consent. We passed the woman's right to know law and the 24-hour waiting period, the fetal homicide legislation, and we passed, yes, here, the nation's first ban on partial birth abortion. But what I want to tell you is that this bill, the Heartbeat bill, will protect more babies in 1 year than every piece of legislation we have ever passed in the state of Ohio thus far.
Well, the next step, it would seem, would be to capitalize on what everyone now knows, and that is that there is a heartbeat. There's something almost magical about the heartbeat. Is there life? Oh, if there's a heart beating, there's a life, of course. And when does the heart begin to beat? Well, only when you were about 3 weeks old.
Prayer is shifting these senators. Prayer has shifted this thing in Ohio, and prayer can do miracles.
Right now, right here, as you sit in these seats, as you hear these speakers, you are a part of history. We're at a tipping point. And I believe strongly that today is that point. We know with any movement, there's always a pressure against the status quo, and then at some point, it tips and goes in the direction that the movement is trying to go. Today is that point. This is the fulcrum. We are here, ladies and gentlemen.
This day signals the beginning of the end of abortion on demand.
You've seen this has gone from a political battle to a spiritual battle. We are just about there, and the enemy knows it.
Ohio, pick up the sword and lead the way. And here we are today.
A heartbeat equates with human life. So here we now have an opportunity to protect human life. And I can assure you that if this bill passes, it will go to the Supreme Court. It will be rendered constitutional.
So stop worrying about the Supreme Court. Stop worrying about getting reelected. Stop worrying what people think. Do the right thing. Take a stand. Vote yes for the Heartbeat bill. Be a leader, and I promise you that people will follow. Thank you.
Any senator or any House of Representatives or any legislated person who would dare stand for abortion will be exposed from the pulpits for exactly what they are. This is sin. We must call it what it is. It's wrong, and it must stop now.
This is our opportunity. Should we wait? No.
This is our hour. This is our time. Vote this bill.
And we have it in our hands right now to move it through the Senate of the state of Ohio. And if we do, our governor will sign.
We're not just potentially changing history, we're potentially changing the course of an entire civilization. Because we're going from a culture of death to a culture of life.
It says right there in our birth certificate, at the very end of that next sentence, to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. This is what government does. First, it preserves life, then liberty. Notice the sequence. Liberty is precious little value if you're dead. You have to have life first, life, then liberty, and then sewer systems and overpasses. The first thing you're supposed to do is to preserve life.
Now is the time, and this is the bill, the vehicle to do it. And yes, let's bring Roe versus Wade crashing to the ground.
Someday in America, people are going to tour the abortuaries, and they're going to say, you're not going to believe what actually happened to other human beings in these places. And they're going to say, where was the church when this was going on? And we're going to say, we rose up and we made a difference. And in Ohio, we put a stop to it this day.